am Zoe.
And I'm Fox.
And today we were going to review Howard the Duck, but we did you one better. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Did You One Better. This is our podcast where we review and remake different movies. Basically see how we would do it because we're not cowards. Now, normally that would be relevant, but I would say in regards to Howard the Duck, the 80s film, the makers of this film were not cowards.
Well,
I will give them that.
No. See, here's the thing. They were cowards because we never got to see Howard the Duck fuck the human woman Beverly.
So this is the whole situation that we've been dealing with, and the emotional spiral that I have been on this month. There's a lot more to cover. Howard the Duck is a weird movie. Howard the Duck is one of the strangest movies that I've ever seen. I don't know if I would say the strangest.
I've seen a lot stranger movies, but I've also seen a lot of weird shit on purpose because that's who I am as a person.
Right, there was that one 80s animated movie that was like an anthology. It surrounded this crystal. I don't think it was heavy metal. I do not think it was heavy metal.
An anthology that involved a crystal. There were a lot of weird 80s movies, especially animated movies.
No, it was heavy metal.
It was heavy metal?
Reading through the descriptions now, I do remember it was heavy metal is the one I'm thinking of. I remember because there was a very, very not hot sex scene in heavy metal.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it's the most awkward shit to watch.
Yeah.
I watched this with my girlfriend's family. Not Fox, but my girlfriend at the time. And it was a fever dream. I think I was sick when I watched it, and now my memory of it is gone. I think I took a nap partway through. Which I think is ultimately the best way to watch heavy metal.
It's just like little cat naps throughout.
You're never going to understand heavy metal. So put yourself in a position where you're not expecting to.
You're not meant to understand it. You're just meant to experience it. Much like Howard the Duck.
Right. So heavy metal, I would say, is weirder, but it's not that far off. Howard the Duck is surprisingly close in what the fuckery to heavy metal.
Howard the Duck is this sort of somehow mundane weirdness.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the joke, right?
Right.
Because to Howard the Duck, all the weird shit is mundane. That's like the whole point of it.
The thing with Howard the Duck is it's supposed to be like, it's funny because he's a duck in these harrowing situations, but instead of like a cartoon with like Donald or Daffy Duck, they'd be fine at the end. Howard could actually die.
Yeah.
Like if he got shot in the chest, he would die.
Howard almost dies several times.
Yeah, but unfortunately he does survive at the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Why don't you go ahead? Okay, so a note for this one, controversy incoming. I did not finish this movie.
Can you blame her?
I walked out about 45 minutes in. This was right before what we thought was going to be the sex scene, and while it wasn't, it was close.
You quit right in time.
Right, and we justified it ultimately because Howard the Duck is so weird because it's basically two different movies.
It feels the first half and the second half are so disconjointed. Like they...
It's not a word.
I made it a word.
Disconnected.
One way or another. But yeah, no, they're not jointed together. They don't have joints together, holding them together, so disconjointed.
There's no joints anywhere in this movie, which is a real shame because I think I would have been able to finish it if I was high.
That would have been nice.
That was a long joke that wasn't worth it.
I don't know if I could handle Howard the Duck and Beverly, like, about to have sex while I was high. I think that would just fuck me up.
No, I think for that we'd have to get what's the term? We'd have to get both high and drunk. There's a term for that.
Oh, I was just gonna say comatose, but that too.
So I didn't watch the whole thing. My remake is going to be focused on the parts that I did watch, and basically just going to extend that to be a whole movie, and that's good enough for me. And we're the ones doing the podcast, so it doesn't fucking matter. Fox has, I'm sure, something involving the entire movie. I don't know what it is. I'm going to have to find out.
That is the podcast. That is the thing I forced you into.
Yeah, this was Fox's idea.
Yes, I did choose. I willingly chose to watch Howard the Duck. Here's the thing, I had seen Howard the Duck before. I know Howard the Duck intimately. Don't look further into that. But this is a movie that, like, I have actually bought my mother, I think for Mother's Day. And she likes this movie. We like watching it together.
Of the fictional characters that Fox has professed wanting to fuck, Howard the Duck is not the weirdest of them.
I don't want to fuck Howard the Duck. Not movie version, at least.
Would you fuck comics, Howard the Duck? The
Yeah.
Grizzled Detective?
I don't even know if he is a detective. I'm so
I am
sure.
100% fucking sure he's a detective.
Here's the thing, in the comics, I don't know, there is something about him in the comics that, like, I would fuck.
Howard T. Duck, Private Investigations, or 616 of the Prime DC Universe.
Okay, so he did detective it up.
Yeah, he did. Also, for anybody who didn't know, Howard the Duck's a DC character.
Oh, yeah, so this is technically...
Sorry. It's a Marvel character. That's sacrilege, and I know. I got it wrong. He's a Marvel character.
I would have never read this book.
It's yeah, that's a discussion for another time.
But yes, so yeah, no, this is a comic book movie chosen by me. So that's a switch up.
Yeah.
But I do like to choose the stranger movies that maybe shouldn't have existed.
Yeah, we're gonna need to talk about that when we're not recording.
About my movie choices?
Yeah.
Wait until I get you to watch all of the Troll movies.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so Fox, why don't you give a summary of the movie, because I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay, so a quick-ish synopsis of Howard the Duck. We open up on a shot of an apartment. It's kind of sad. There's a lot of like little details in the background, puns, duck puns to show, oh, this is just all a setup for a joke. My favorite one, of course, being a movie poster that says Breeders of the Lost Ark.
I hate that. I still hate that. Those first 5 minutes were the weirdest shit that I've ever seen. That goes beyond heavy metal, which also has a very weird opening. But at least in heavy metal's opening, it just clues you into the fact that it's like an anthology. But this has no fucking real connection to the story. It's just saying like Howard, like you could cut that out. And then the later dialogue that Howard has would tell you where he's from. It's not actually necessary. It's just a really duck horny opening for no reason.
It's incredibly horny. It's so fucking bizarrely horny. There's like
he opens a Playboy for ducks.
A little play duck action, if you will.
It's really bad. I swear to God, like when we watched it, I thought he was going to take his little duck penis out and masturbate. I swear to God, I thought it would like that's where it was going.
If the rating for this movie was set up just one notch, we would have seen the corkscrew penis.
Or he has the blanket over, or like where it's like, oh, you know, like,
or just like his little hands down his little pants. I hate it.
It was setting up for that, but instead he gets sucked into another dimension for no reason.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Does that
really
actually
bizarre.
ever get explained?
No, it does. It does. It's just, it doesn't really connect. It's stupid.
Well, there you go.
I.
Howard the Duck. It's stupid.
I mean, yeah. The room starts to shake right before he starts to masturbate. Thanks, directors. Like, thank you for not making us watch that. And he gets sucked through space. And it's this whole long thing that you kind of glaze over. Your eyes just unfocus.
Yeah.
And then he lands Earth. Chicago.
No.
No.
No, it wasn't
No.
Chicago.
Where does he land?
He lands in... Let me look it up.
Denver?
No.
I don't know America. He ends in some... He's in back alleys.
He is in seedy back alleys in a city that is not like one of the 10 cities that you think of. Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland. That's right, it's Cleveland. So yeah, it's really just this long sequence of him going, huh? What? Where am I? What the fuck? And then, some people see him, they run and they scream because they assume he's just some weird little creature instead of just thinking, oh, some kid is in a duck outfit. Which is funny because later on, they go to a diner and people do just be like, oh, your little son is in a duck costume, how cute.
Yeah, it's not consistent. It's not consistent.
It's just really fucking ridiculous. But anyway, so in these back alleys, he meets Beverly, who's being harassed by some dudes who are... I mean, let's not mince words. They are trying to rape her.
Right. There's stalkers who are trying to rape her because she is in a band who performs at a local club.
And she's walking by herself, and they're flirting with her. They're coming on to her, and she's telling them to stop, and they're about to rape her.
Yeah.
So, stay classy, Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck jumps in with some duck foo.
Quack foo.
Quack foo.
Please respect the great arts, the ancient arts of quack foo.
I will not respect anything involving Howard the Duck. Don't request that of me. It's not possible. I will refuse to do it.
That's fair. But yeah, no, so he beats the shit out of these two would-be rapists. And then Beverly...
takes him to her apartment.
She just gets all doe-eyed and it's like, oh, I don't want to leave you in the rain, little duck dude.
This is like, I was already feeling weird about the movie at this point because of how fucking horny that opening was. And then this was when I paused at that point and I was like, no fucking way. Because they were setting up Beverly to be the love interest. And I was like, don't you fucking dare. Don't you dare, Howard the Duck movie. Don't you dare set up this fucking romance. And it turns out they did. And I can't stop it. It's beyond my power.
You cannot stop Howard the Duck.
Apparently not. I'm very upset about it. She brings him back to her apartment.
Yeah, there's a stupid moment where, she's like, what am I going to do with you? Long pause. Ducky. First of all, that's offensive.
It is offensive.
Like, he later on in the movie, he even gets pissed off because the scientist guy that they go to try and get answers, is, talking down to him, like, oh, me scientist, you, Howard. And Howard's just like, fuck you, I'm a sapient creature.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
I would be fine. It would be better if she said Howie. Because Howie is an actual nickname for people named Howard.
That's true. It is. And also makes me think of Howie Mandel.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So next day they go to the scientist guy.
Who's a friend of Beverly's.
Who's also a shit scientist. And
a shit character. He's not interesting at all. He's supposed to be comic relief, but
they
it's not.
They make a joke that he's practically a janitor, but I think I would have been happier with that joke if he actually was the janitor. Because he's not, but they make a joke like he is, because he doesn't actually do any real science.
And really, at the end of the day, that joke is just how poorly the Institute treats its workers.
Yeah. It just feels weird. It just feels weird as a joke. It just doesn't follow through on a good setup.
It's just sad. Like,
yeah. And then Howard and what's her name?
Beverly.
Beverly. You said it like 10 times, and it immediately stepped out of my head. They get into a fight because Howard is
nihilistic. He's just like, no, fuck it, I don't want answers. I guess I'm just living with you hairless monkeys now.
Yeah.
And then he goes to get a job.
Another horny scene happens. Well, a series of horny scenes happen. First off, he goes to the job offer person who I don't know what the fuck she thinks Howard is.
She thinks he's just some small man who just dresses like a duck. And, like, I know this is the 80s. Things weren't, like, as up to, like, not as advanced as we are nowadays, but, like, he doesn't have a social security number. He doesn't have a home address.
Yeah.
And, like, it seems like this... I mean, I don't know. It's kind of implied. Like, he's tried other jobs before. It's weird. It's just not done very well.
There's, like, this almost assumption of a time skip, but there is no time skip.
It's really weird.
And there can't be a time skip because... when he gets into the fight with Beverly, he doesn't have any place to stay, and then the whole scene. So he gets a job. He gets a job at a brothel, cleaning up, and then he quits the job the same day because the owner is a piece of shit. And then that night, there's a whole scene about where will he sleep, and he has to sleep in the alley until he like reconnects with Beverly. So this whole sequence, this really weirdly horny sequence of him getting and quitting a job. And like also almost chomping on the job lady's butt, and also he works in a brothel for no fucking reason.
See, I wouldn't call it a brothel. It's more like a love,
like a love hotel, love spa.
Kind of, yeah. It's really weird.
It's explicitly a place where people have sex.
It's like a gay sauna, but for straight people. I don't understand that.
Right, and like one of the jokes is that Howard has to clean out a tub where people are actively fucking.
Yeah.
And then they don't move.
Oh, and then, like, also he cannot swim.
Which is also weird, because he's a duck.
Yeah, but, like, they don't have wings anymore, his people.
He's still a fucking duck.
Well, I'm just saying...
Do you think wings were the only thing keeping ducks above water?
I don't know how ducks work. I know how their dicks work, and I hate it.
I don't know off the top of my head. It has to do with, like, their feathers... And I think it has to do with their fat amounts and like things like there's like oils involved. There's other ways that they stay floating above the water.
Well, I'm just saying, like, look at us humans. We don't all know how to swim. But you know
it is a little fucking different.
I'm just, you know what? This is irrelevant. Anyway, back to the sex sauna. You like that sentence?
No, but we're gonna just move past it. Sex sauna happens, and then he quits, and then he meets back up with Beverly, and then he assaults Beverly's shitty manager in order to get them their money.
Oh yeah, there's like this whole fight scene in the bar while she's on stage singing, and it's
weird because
boring.
like it's boring and it's weird because like Howard the Duck and has this whole scene where he's like, I know quack foo, and he beats two rapists, and then he goes to confront the fucking shitty manager, but then he doesn't like do any quack foo shit. Like he's like suddenly he doesn't know how to fight.
Yeah, I think he did like more like just general bar fight stuff, like break a glass bottle.
Yeah, like he didn't actually fight like how he fought the last time he fought. It's everything's inconsistent, and I think the idea of like there were two movies. I think it was true. I think there was an initial movie, and then people were like, "This movie sucks ass," and so they made another movie, and then like we don't have enough for a full movie, and this one still kind of sucks ass. So we're just gonna paste these two movies together, but they're coming from very different sources, so everything's fucking inconsistent.
It is, and well, I will say quack foo is something that was originally in the comics,
right.
But he doesn't like just know it from his planet. I believe he learns it while he's like basically portal hopping. He's in like a different universe. The comics are weird.
Comics are very weird.
They're like fucking bizarre. kind of love what I've seen of them.
Hmm.
I haven't dipped my toes too far into that pool. But...
Right. It's just everything about this movie is inconsistent. And then it also, like, what we've described, you would think that this is the movie. Like, it maybe feels like a short movie, but this feels like a movie. It feels like this is like the big thing. Yeah, that feels like the whole
arc that we just discussed. It's not.
It's not. It's maybe 45 minutes.
Right. This movie is like 2 hours long?
Something like that. And then there's this whole other movie which I didn't see, so Voxel will have to read that.
Yes. So he beats the shit out of the manager. He becomes the band's manager. Save the day, whatever. And then, like, the other 2 members of the band, they're a little weird. They, like, accept Howard right away. They're like, oh, you saved us, you're so great. And they, like, flirt with him. And
well, they were told about him beforehand.
Yeah, okay, but if I...
Beverly told them about it because they mentioned that.
But let me ask you, let me say I came up to you, and I'm fucking describing a little fucking alien humanoid duck. And so then you hear this story for maybe a day, and then suddenly the humanoid duck comes in, and you're like, oh, you're cute. Is that, yeah? You gonna flirt? You gonna fucking flirt with the little alien duck? Is that what you're gonna do? Is that a normal human response?
I wouldn't flirt with this Howard the Duck, but my tastes are different than these characters. These characters are all fucking insane. So, I mean, there's a little bit of looseness required here. If it was like an adorable little alien guy, maybe. I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
That's fair. But,
I mean, it wouldn't be Howard the Duck. I want to make that very fucking clear. If Howard the Duck came into this room right now, I would not flirt with him.
It would be fucking duck hunting season.
I wouldn't even shoot him with the gun. I'd just grab him and fucking slam him against the wall. Just pick him up by his fucking head and just, like, whack him over my fucking chair over and over.
And then when he's about to die, I'll stand over him and say... your poster collection is now mine. Your little duck bills, playbills, kind of like Playboy. Yeah, mine now.
How would you...
I don't want that, but I would take it as like a trophy.
But he doesn't have them. Because they were in his universe, and we're not in Duck universe.
I would go to his universe just to steal all his shit after we murder him. I want the poster. I kind of do want the poster, Readers of the Lost Ark.
I don't. Let's finish this fucking recap already.
Right, sorry. Okay, so they
Losing my mind.
They go to Beverly's and they get in bed together and they touch. And I love your expression, but I hate what's happening. So they start touching, and like first, Howard the Duck is like all flirty with her, and like, oh yeah, well, maybe you should like come over here, ruffle my feathers, some shit like that.
Fuck off!
I don't think he actually says that, but I said it because that's a good line.
Just end my misery, please.
But then like Beverly gets really into it. And she just jumps on board. She's like, yeah, I want to fuck you, basically. And Howard suddenly goes like, oh, wait, shit. No, God, oh, be gentle with me. Oh, God, what's happening? No, maybe we should hold off, please.
Oh, my God.
And it's like, what the fuck? And then, as they're still in the middle, they're like touching each other in bed. She is like, I think she's undressing him, or at least... Anyway, you're dying. You're actually dying.
Please speed this up.
Her door apparently was open. So, our new set of characters for the second part of the movie just walk in, and they don't announce themselves. They just watch. They stand there, and they watch until Beverly and Howard look up and notice they have an audience.
Oh, dear Lord.
There is no God. There is only Howard the Duck.
Oh, sweet Lord in heaven, my suffering. Who are these people?
No, okay, so these are the scientists, and they're the reason that Howard the Duck is on Earth. And bear with me, this is a little ridiculous. So they were messing with some fucking giant machine that caused a portal, a rift, and it brought Howard the Duck to Cleveland.
Specifically Howard the Duck. No other ducks.
Correct. He is the only creature, the only thing that was brought over. And so they all go over to the little station, the science station where the machine is.
Science station.
And the scientists are like, yeah, no, we will help you get home, Howard the Duck. And so they tried. They fire up the machine, but shit explodes. It's bad. A demon thing comes through and possesses the your expression. You don't understand. No, a demon comes through the portal and possesses the main scientist guy. And well, after all this has happened, suddenly the cops show up. And
Why?
So it's this chase. It's a police chase.
For no reason.
They're hiding around the building, like trying to get away from the cops. The cops arrest Beverly's science friend, and then Beverly, the possessed doctor, and Howard escape.
Right.
And they end up going to this little diner. And at this diner, they're trying to discuss what's happening, what to do. And then, the scientist is fully possessed at this point by the demon. I think he's not given, like, a proper name. He's given, like, a fucking title.
Yeah, the creature introduces itself as a dark overlord of the universe.
Yeah, that's right. So the dark overlord of the universe that I'm just gonna fucking call Demon Guy. The shit goes down. He needs to, like, get back there because he wants to open up the portal and bring over more demon buddies to over fucking take the earth or whatever. Pretty standard bullshit. And Howard the Duck and Beverly are like, no. What the... Here's the thing. They kind of just gloss over that the scientist is fucking obviously possessed. They're just like, you're acting weird, whatever. We'll discuss things. Even though he's over here with, like, these weird powers, he's making shit explode with his mind, and they're just like, you're weird. It's fucking bizarre. Like, they don't believe he's possessed. But yeah, so at the diner, and here's where it just gets fucking ridiculous. They're at the diner, the waitress is like, oh, your cute little son in his Halloween costume, huh, so cute. And Howard the Duck, of course, is like, bring me a fucking beer. And so, like, some redneck fucking hillbilly stereotypes come over and they harass the group for no reason. And then it's this whole weird fight scene where they capture Howard the Duck, and they're actually going to cook him.
Oh my god.
They're going to cook him, and the only reason they don't is because the scientist, the fucking demon puts a stop to it because they stole his little USB or flash little thing that he needs to fucking start up the machine. So he kills them. He kidnaps Beverly because, of course, and leaves. And so Howard the Duck, he's hiding out. The cops come. It's somehow the same cops, and they haven't taken Phil or Peter or whatever his name is, the scientist kid, the scientist friend. They haven't taken him to the police station or anything. He's still in the car. So they drive him to this other location, the diner. And so, while all the cops are busy, they just, like, Howard the Duck goes over and breaks him out of the police car. And so, they go, like, behind the diner, I think maybe, like, a gas station or something, and there's just, like, there's a truck. And they open it up, and they find that there is a 2-person flying apparatus, an airplane, in the back of this car.
What? What?
Right, this is...
In the car?
Well, it's in the, like, it's a truck. Excuse me, it's not a truck.
No fucking truck.
It's this little, like, I guess a hobbyist plane.
Still, no fucking truck is gonna be able to fucking carry a full-ass plane. Have you seen even hobbyist planes?
In person, no.
They're gigantic.
Right, but like, they, I think it's in pieces and they put it together.
God.
And then they fucking... No, here's what happens. So, it's two sets of scenes happening in tandem with each other. So on one hand, you have Howard and the little scientist friend flying this plane while they're being chased and shot at by the authorities. And on the other hand, you have Beverly being kidnapped by the demon possessing the fucking scientist, going around trying to drive all the way back to the science place. And along the way, hijinks ensue for both parties. And it's weird, and if it's too long, it is far too long, and it's bad. It's not interesting, and I hate it.
Okay, and then I'm assuming there's like a final battle.
Oh, yeah, they all converge. Demon is trying to bring
This is taking
his boys.
way too long.
I'm sorry. Well, it's almost over. He's trying to bring his boys over. Beverly is strapped to the table to take in the demons. Hate it all. Howard the Duck and, like, the scientist kid, they fucking get, like, some sort of, like, bazooka. It's not a bazooka, but it's some weird giant weapon that they just have in the fucking facility. And so it's this long, drawn-out, asinine fight, blah, blah, blah. Howard saves the day, but the portal gets destroyed. And so he is stuck on Earth. And would you like to know how the movie ends?
Why the fuck not?
It's a musical number.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Howard is just, I guess, accepted as part of our world now, because he's openly singing along with Beverly on this huge stage, whole elaborate thing. It's all, and the song is all about him.
Oh my god.
And at the end, of course, I believe they kiss.
Of course they do.
It's spectacularly bad.
So I did look it up. Thog is
Thog.
the demon in the comics that fucks with Howard the Duck.
I almost spit water all over myself.
That's
what this movie does to me.
I am so tired. Like, this podcast takes a good amount out of me just because it's us talking for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's a fun time. I am just fucking tired. This movie has ruined me.
It's not good. It really does feel like two separate movies, two separate bad movies shoved together.
And neither are long enough for their own movie.
No, and here's the thing, the first half feels like an adult film. The second half honestly feels like a child's film.
First half feels like a porno, but they couldn't release a porno into theaters, so they cut out all the sex.
Yeah.
But they left in just enough, because they knew it was going to be bare bones, so they cut just around the sex.
Right after the scene where Beverly and Howard are doing some heavy petting. You like that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was a good joke. That's when it just turns into this silly kids movie.
Yeah.
And
it's bad.
It's weird and it's ridiculous. And he really does just forget about Quack Fu, it feels like. It's like, I know it's a diner full of people, but like...
He doesn't even try to use it.
It's like, I don't know, maybe it's just because like, all of it just feels dated. And maybe it looked good for the time, but like now in 2022?
Yes.
It looks not good.
Yeah. So we've got the remakes. Do you want to go first? How long is your thing?
How long are all of my things? Let's be real.
That's so long.
It's probably going to be like 10 minutes of me talking. Do you want to?
10 minutes is shorter than you normally go. You fucking kidding me?
Okay, so it's about the same of usual. So you want to go first?
Sure,
And you're not allowed to say, just don't make it.
I know. I figured that going in. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I want to draw more from the comics because there's interesting things in the comics. I want Howard. I think Howard himself should be a bit of a mystery. Like, I don't think we as audience members should see where Howard came from, how he got here, etc., etc. I think it should open with Beverly. I think it should open with this woman who is in this band, and she likes being in this band, but she's down on her luck. She's harassed. She is not getting enough money. She's trying to get out of it, but she's in a really difficult situation. And we get like a scene, you know, all that kind of stuff. I don't think we need the rapists, but like, you know, we can have some people treating her like shit, you know, and we go from that until, like, you know, she's really depressed, she's down on her luck, maybe, you know, she's just kind of like wandering before going home because she doesn't know what to do, and she stumbles upon this fucking weird, like, maybe she's there when Howard falls from the sky and just like crashes into a ditch next to her, and like, this is a fucking strange thing, and Howard, I think, would have a bit more of an understanding of what's going on. Like, Howard, this would probably be, I think, his first dimension hop, but he's like, I don't think he'd be like an everyman. I think he knows science to an extent. I think he kind of like has an idea of what's going on with him. And so he just like immediately starts spouting, like, you know, like, oh, I came here from another dimension and I was like forced through this wormhole, and, you know, I have to get back and I don't know how. And like Beverly's just kind of like overwhelmed, and like she tries to leave initially because she's like, what the actual fuck? But I think Howard is just kind of like, it's very clear that he has nothing here. So it's like, after like a bit, she's like, I gotta help. I can't do anything but help. Like, this person is in a horrible situation and I can help, so I will. And then that's her initial motivation. And then I think it kind of like, they have a back and forth. They like each other. Not love interest. We're not going to do love interest. But they like each other. There's some nice banter. He's, you know, like, he's surprisingly intelligent. He understands things. And like, he's, you know, like, because there's like a connection being started there. And then the next day, a bunch of scientists burst in because they were tracking Howard as he came through, and then they found like the easy trail. Like, Beverly's like fucking down the street. It's not difficult to find him. And so like the next day, scientists show up, and Howard's like, oh good, you can help, but it's like clear that even though like Howard initially wants to go with the scientists because he's like, oh, they're gonna help me get home, it's clear that there's something kind of sinister going on here. Scientists may not actually want to help him. And like Beverly picks it up before he does. She kind of like gets that kind of like social side of things. She can read people well. And then she's like, these guys, there's something wrong with them. Mm-hmm. She intervenes. She creates a distraction. Beverly and Howard get out of there. They meet up with the scientist that Beverly knows that's on the level. He's not an idiot. He's not a Dumbo brain. He's just a normal fucking scientist. And he also works in fucking physics or like quantum mechanics, because the scientist friend in this movie, it works in fucking, what was it, paleontology or some shit?
Yeah, I believe it was paleontology.
So nothing at all to do with Howard's conundrum. But this guy would actually have relevant knowledge to anything that Howard needs. And they're like, okay, well, we know how you got here. The question is, how do we get you home? And like, It's just like, and Howard would kind of bring up at this point, it's like, something created this portal, something brought me here. And that's kind of like hinting at this like other figure. And I think we maybe have like a couple cutaways now, and then like references to Thog. And we'll have it be Thog specifically, because I want to draw into the more of the comics. And like, Thog, we'll have like this reveal like halfway through the movie that Thog has taken over the lead scientist of like the guys who are trying to capture Howard. And so we know Thog's on the hunt for Howard for some reason. We don't really know why. But they're kind of on the run. They're trying to like put together, like they're like getting these like haphazard materials to make their own portal back, and Howard's helping in the ways that he can. And then like there's hijinks as they get to a place, and the other people are right behind them, and then like this connection between the different characters grow, and this happens like 3 or 4 times, and then near the end, like there's this like they assemble the thing, but oh no, Thog, the scientist who's possessed by Thog shows up, and he ruins it, and like there's this fight, and it's like, oh, blah blah blah, comics, and it doesn't have to be any deeper than that. It could just be that. It's just Howard showed up from another universe. Some scientist wants to capture him. Turns out one of the scientists possessed by a demon. Beverly helps. Howard, and we can have like a side thing where like Howard doesn't go home. The portal breaks. He can't go home. But Howard is like, I like Beverly. I like this scientist. There are friends here now. It's sad that I can't get home, but I have connections here. So he helps. Like maybe he is like in the end bit, we can have a little bit where like Howard kind of shows up to the shitty manager, and he's just like, fucking leave Beverly alone. And the manager's like so freaked out because it's a fucking duck man that he's just like, I'm on mushrooms and I'm gonna leave now. And then it just does. Because of if a duck walked up to you on 2 legs and was like, hey, stop your bullshit, you would do it.
Right, I mean, just a normal duck approaching would be a little terrifying, because ducks are kind of bastards.
Yeah.
But a duck man?
Who calls you out on your specific bullshit by, like, he lists off examples. Like, here's how you fucked up. Stop doing it. You would absolutely stop. That is an existential crisis that will change your whole life.
If a duck man calls you a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit.
You will change your ways. You will figure out how to better your life, because that's the only way to recover from that. And that's how it ends. And Beverly gets a good manager. Maybe Howard becomes the manager now that he's sticking around. And he's like, I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. And like, you help me out, I'm helping you out. And that's it. We don't need to get any more weird than that. It doesn't need to be fucking horny. It doesn't need to be complicated. We go for like crazy fancy stories, but this should just be like a fun comic movie with hijinks and like the most cliche story imaginable. It's okay if that happens. It's better than this.
I think what's really funny is, from what again, I'm not big on the comics, but what I've seen, Beverly is in the comics, but I don't think they end up together.
Yeah, because why the fuck would they?
I mean, Marvel's done some weird ass shit.
Not that weird. Not that weird.
I mean, I don't know.
They're too much of a coward to go that weird. That's
fair.
why I'm saying that the directors of this movie aren't cowards. They're brave in ways that I despise.
Beautiful. Oh my god. Amazing. No, I like what you were going for. Just like a fun comic book movie.
Like, you can see everything coming. There's no big twists. There's no big turns. It's very one note, but it's a lot of cool action. This would fit in the MCU. This is an MCU movie. Okay? Fucking Kevin Feige. Give me a call.
Who's that?
He's the guy who, like, organizes the MCU. He's, like, the top dog.
Oh, so he's the one to blame?
Pretty much.
I think that there is a way to make this whole thing cohesive and not feel like 2 short movies smashed into one far too long movie. So we start out with Howard just going through his day in the duck world. Strange things are happening, though. He swears he sees something in reflections that aren't there. And then he heads to his apartment. We get all the fun duck puns, like Readers of the Ark. or Breeders of the Lost Ark, excuse me. However, instead of us having to see Playboy duckies, his TV is having weird reception issues, and for a split second, we see something strange in the static. Some sort of monster? Then suddenly there's shaking and weird lighting, and he's being transported through the multiverse. He's almost grabbed by some creature, but then makes it through a closing portal and lands on Earth. Specifically, in the science lab where these experiments dealing with space travel are happening. So right off the bat, we meet the scientists, including the scientist, friend. I think his name may have been Phil. Because he's going to be part of this whole endeavor. He's not going to be just some random paleontologist. And maybe there are some hijinks. Howard is like, hey, what the fuck are these hairless monkeys? Send me back, please. But they can't, because there are issues with the machine. So there are talks about strange readings, weird images they get from opening the wormhole. But still the scientists are like, we're going to work on getting things up and running so you can return home, Mr. Duckman. So meanwhile, the scientist friend, his friend, Beverly drops by. And yes, this is just, a random civilian dropping in on a top secret government facility, but I don't know. I mean, she's white. She can do whatever. And, I kind of like her being an aspiring musician, but I don't give a shit about the shitty manager subplot. That is not why we're watching Howard the Goddamn Duck. So she comes in, she sees this large duck in human clothes, and goes, "Aw, hello, little ducky," which, of course, is offensive, to Howard. But now we have a real organic way to have her call him Ducky throughout the movie, instead of it just being this random nonsense moment. And it can become like this little inside joke between them as the movie goes on, showing their growth, the growth of their relationship. However that relationship ends up being. So anyway, Beverly sticks around because, holy shit, talking alien duck, she's not missing that. Things go haywire, however, because, of course they do. The monsters from earlier break through. There's chaos. And somehow, Howard, Beverly, and the scientist friend, whose name I'll never remember, all get transported into a different dimension. We're going to lean heavily into the portal hopping. Because the audience, we don't want aliens fucking around on Earth. It didn't work for Masters of the Universe. It didn't work for Howard the Duck. It's just asinine. It's not fun. It's always used as a way to mock youth culture, too. It's just weird and boring. Let's see some fucking different multiverse places. And like we said before, Howard the Duck doesn't even start off going to Earth.
I wouldn't know.
I mean, I just know what I've read online. So anyway, they get transported, and here we're going to have some fun portal fantasy shenanigans. And parodies, like in the comics. But it's all going to be treated seriously. The audience is going to be like, oh, they could easily die. It's going to be harrowing. It's going to be treated seriously. And they're not going to be flying in a shitty little plane in this goofy, fun, no one's in danger sort of way. It's like Conan the Barbarian, but no sexual assault. And he's a duck. Which may be the greatest description I've given anything ever.
It's pretty good.
So all the while, as they're hopping in the multiverse, they're being chased by the creatures who want to rule or destroy all life and existence, yada yada. And I agree. I would love it if it was Thog. I'd love it if it was Thog. Really tie in, the multiverse of Marvel.
Yeah, what the fuck is Thog gonna do otherwise? What the fuck is Thog gonna do other than fuck with the Howard the Duck? It's the one thing he's famous for.
Right, like Marvel. Where the hell else are you gonna shove him in? You gonna have him fucking chasing down the Winter Soldier? You gonna have him fucking with Vision and Scarlet Witch? No. That's not what Thog does. He just fucks around with the talking duck.
I feel like it's important to note that in the MCU, Vision is dead.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he died in Infinity War.
Well,
okay, so Thanos smashed his head. Yeah, well, it's weird because Vision had the Mind Stone in the MCU.
I didn't mean to laugh. I just
so Thanos just straight up
oh
yeah, he just straight up grabs and just crushes his forehead and takes the Mind Stone out.
Oh, that's funny.
Now I will say, in WandaVision, the government did take his remains and kind of rebuild him, but he's not the same Vision. He doesn't have like any of the memories. He doesn't have the same personality. He's White Vision, which is a thing in the comics, but it's like a different character. So it was funny that you brought him up because Winter Soldier and Scarlet Witch are still in the MCU. I haven't seen Multiverse of Madness, and the Scarlet Witch is in that. I don't know if she dies in it. I haven't seen it. I'm waiting for digital release.
Anyway, so as they're hopping universes, they actually see the Duck universe, and Howard is ready to get home. But he can't just leave Beverly and Phil or whatever to their own devices. So he waits, and there's a huge battle with Fog and like the other demons. And he somehow... Erase that. And somehow, in this battle, the demons get trapped in a different barren world. But in this process... Howard also misses his only chance to go home. It's cut off from him, so he goes back to Earth with the other two. It's bittersweet. The scientists promise to try and keep working to get him home. Beverly and the science friend promise that he has a place to stay in the time being. And then it ends with military people arriving because there's been a lot of hubbub and explosions happening at this lab. What the hell? And it ends on Howard grimacing and wondering how he's going to get out of this one. Credits roll. That's a wrap. It is sequel bait. That's right. If all the other Marvel assholes get to have their own fucking spin-offs and shit, Howard the Duck, the series. Ant-Man, move your ass over. You're getting squashed for Howard the Duck.
No, so the sequel bit would happen in the post-credits. That's where they'd put it.
Well, okay, well...
You can have the military come in the post-credit.
Oh, yeah, okay, I like that. In the post-credit, they're, like, still celebrating, being alive. And then the military comes. And it's like, whoa, glad you stayed till the end of this 20-minute-long credit sequence.
And then Nick Fury shows up so Samuel L. Jackson can get a paycheck for $1 million for being in a movie for 5 seconds.
Oh, my God, what if he tries to recruit Howard the Duck?
He absolutely fucking will.
I
looked up Howard the Duck shit while we were talking. Howard the Duck is a member of Armor. Which is an off-brand of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I love the thought of Samuel L. Jackson just breaking into this movie and suddenly busting out... I want him to call Howard the Duck a motherfucker. I have this thought, this image in my head of it, and it's beautiful and also true.
Yeah. Related organization, Armor. Altered Reality Monitoring and Operational Response Agency. Sister agency to S.H.I.E.L.D. that monitors alternate reality and encourages into Earth 616. Howard the Duck is a member.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it ties in beautifully. And one other thing I will add to my remake. It's not going to be CGI. Howard the Duck is going to be a real actor in a real suit. Like it was in the original, except it's going to look better.
I would hope so.
I mean, it's been like almost 40 years.
Almost.
Oh, that hurts to say. But it's been almost 40 years. It's going to look a lot better than that.
It's like 35, I think.
And also, I just hate, like, nowadays, like with the Oompa Loompas in Willy Wonka's Wonderland or whatever, the people who made the movie, they, like, CGI'd the Oompa Loompas instead of having actors, didn't they?
Which one? The
Johnny Depp?
I don't think so.
Not
all of them. I don't think they did all of them.
Oh, not all of them? I mean, even if you're doing some, like, I don't like that. I mean, I may be wrong. I may be thinking of a different movie, but I just, like, you have these roles specifically calling for actors that are short, and you're not going to actually get actors that are short? Fuck you.
Okay, so what they did, I remember it now. They had one guy play the Oompa Loompa. What they did is that they didn't CGI the rest. They had him do the shot multiple times in different locations, and they layered it all over each other. This is a common filmmaking thing.
So all the Oompa Loompas are one man?
This guy. Over and over and over again. And they are real. He's in makeup. I remember it now.
That feels like a lot of effort.
Oh, he was the alien researcher. That's right.
When you could have just searched. Could they not find any other little actors?
I don't think it's that they couldn't find it. I think A, they wanted to cut costs down, and B, they wanted to make all the Oompa Loompas look exactly the same.
I don't like those implications.
Yeah, it's not great. That's a bad movie. We'll probably talk about it in the future, but we're done with this now, and I am begging for us to be finished. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think we should cut it here. Are there any parting thoughts about Howard the Duck that you would like to share?
I am scarred, and I will never recover.
Heavy petting was a good joke.
All right, bye.
Bye.